Yo, what's up? This your boy Derek Branch here at Strike7Sports.com. And this is another episode of Strike 7 Sports Podcast. Tonight I'm gonna talk about a few transactions that have transpired in the world of college football, along with one NFL topic tonight. First we're gonna start off with the news that was broke on Monday concerning the Auburn Tigers football program, and that's mainly involves Hugh Freeze, who was the head coach of Liberty University, recognized as one of the top offensive minds in college football. You can put him right up there with the Chip Kellys, Lincoln Rileys, Mike Leach, the Ryan Days, all those great names that are associated with high-powered offenses in college football. Sonny Dykes, what have you. He is the new head coach of the Auburn Tigers. Now, you know, he's back in SEC, you know, for now. He was his prior to being at Liberty, he was the head coach of the Ole Miss Rebels. You already know the story of what had went down with the scandal and the violations that they broke, NCAA violations that came down program. I think they had to set out a year, if I'm not mistaken. Um, the couldn't play in any bowls that year, but he's back. He's back in the SEC with as the head coach of the Auburn Tigers, and I think it's fair to excuse me talk about his expectations and that the expectations for Hugh Freeze in that first year with Auburn. Now, for me, I don't expect him to pull a Brian Kelly where he just exceeding everything, winning a lot of big games, you know, playing the SEC championship game in that first year. I don't expect that. But then again, in that same token, you never know because we got the NIL is a game changer now where you can go out in a transfer portal and get players, get 3 to 5 star recruits. No, well not recruits, but 3 to 5 star talent that have played in other programs and build your roster up. It's gonna be interesting to see how Hugh does in regards to that situation. Given that he has the more resources now to recruit and bring valid talent to that pro to Auburn, it's going to be interesting to see. We saw what he did at Liberty. Program was pretty successful under his watch. Made Malik Willis into a NFL draft pick, a third round pick. Guy that was projected by many to be a first round pick, but he fell to the third round. When he was at Mississippi, University of Mississippi, they had some pretty high powered offenses. He beat Nick Saban 2 years in a row. If I'm not mistaken, I think he's the only coach to do that while Nick Saban's at Alabama. If I'm wrong, just let me know in the comment section below. The coaches that were successful, but I think he's the only guy that have took down Nick Saban 2 years in a row in the SEC West. More particular. But regardless of what his past is, the guy can coach. The guy is a good head coach. You know, he was able to, assemble those Mississippi teams with good players, with good talent. And I'm more than sure that's going to be the same at Auburn. It's going to be the same. Uh, Pretty sure that a lot of those players that he had at Liberty are going to hit that transfer portal and possibly join him at Auburn. So I think that first year, I think they can win. Looking at their schedule, they probably can win about 7 to 8 games. You know, 8 win season could possibly be their floor. It depends on who the quarterback is in Auburn. I don't know if DJ Finley is gonna stay. be the quarterback. I mean, because I know he got benched, you know, for this season. Got a little trouble as well. So we'll see. But next season, you got the non-conference schedule pretty soft. You got UMass. You play Cal. Play Sanford. Of course, you got Texas A&M at College Station. You got Georgia at home. LSU and Baton Baton Rouge. So it'd be interesting to see what he's gonna do. You know how that talent, the talent he assembles, how that's gonna they're gonna make an impact in that first year. But Hugh Freeze back in the SEC as the head coach of the Auburn Tigers. So I think if he has, the guy that he wants that quarterback for the time being, along with the remaining surrounding pieces, wide receiver, the running back, I know defense. It's probably gonna be a 7 to 8 win team, man. But we won't know for sure what their projections could be until he builds that roster out with the personnel that he wants. The quarterback, the wide receiver, you know, assistants of that matter. We'll know for sure. We can everybody can give that team the right projections for that year, for next season. But I just think that I think they could make a bowl. I think they'll be a bowl team, not a New Year's Six bowl. I don't think they'll win the SEC West, and I don't think they'll win the Iron Bowl next season. That's something you can look forward to the following year, not next year. I don't think they win the Iron Bowl, and that's. But then again, you never know. Brian Kelly, you know, hit it out of the park in his first year. But the thing is, I know a lot of people, I'm a follower of LSU football, but a lot of people on the outside, kind of blown away on how Kelly has done in his first year at LSU. I'm not because it's not that hard. No, it's not that hard to rebuild LSU, in my opinion. It shouldn't even really you don't even really need a rebuild in LSU. You need like a good retooling, and Kelly has been doing this with compared by many, experts, many pundits. This is not a good LSU roster. And he's making these type he's having this type of impact. But I don't think that's gonna be the same for Hugh Freeze. And I think the fan base out there should not place those type of expectations on Hugh Freeze to expect him to be Brian Kelly in his first year. I wouldn't expect that. Don't don't get your hopes up. But I expect a competitive team. I expect that offense to be a lot better. I expect a high powered offense this year. I expect them to be in the bowl in 2023. There will be a bowl. There'll be a 7 to 8 win team. So there's that. Hugh Freeze back in the SEC as the head coach of the Auburn Tigers. All right, we're gonna segue into another college football head coaching topic, and that's the news concerning Deion Sanders. So you haven't been following, the situation. Is that Deion Sanders is the head coach of the Jackson State Tigers, school that is in the HBCU, historical black colleges and universities. They're 11-0 right now, and they'll be playing in the SWAC championship this Saturday against Southern down in Jackson, Mississippi. But outside of that, there's been rumors swirling since the beginning of the month, maybe even since October, about Dion possibly leaving the SWAC, the HBCU, Jackson State, and going into PWI, Private White Institute, P5 school or G5. You know what it is. But Um, the latest today is that the choices have been narrowed down to Cincinnati, um, South Florida, and Colorado. Now, he has came out and confirmed that there's those schools like Colorado have made offers to him. They offered their job to him to take. Now, Cincinnati, I heard that Cincinnati has that offer on the table as well. I've been hearing about South Florida as well, and there's been a lot of people have been saying a lot of good things about the South Florida job and the opening and how it could be a potential gold mine because of the recruits, the location of where it's at geographically in Tampa, in Florida. Tampa, they're playing the NFL stadium. That doesn't really matter as the stadium, but the location of where the program is situated at right now, it's surrounded at right now. And the report is that Dion will inform Jackson State, the players and the recruits who any player that had interest in committing to Jackson State because of Dion, that he's gonna have his decision made by Sunday. So it's according to came by via Kevin O'Donnell of Fox 13 in Tampa Bay. That's the situation right now. For O'Donnell, the finalists seem to be Colorado, USF, and Cincinnati. So I think in my head, in my heart, I think Dion is gonna stay at Jackson State and continue to build that program and wait for another job to open up possibly. But my my heart says, well, my head says that one of these jobs, he could take one of these jobs. That Colorado job, I don't know if that's a Colorado hasn't been that type of program since the '90s, the late, I would say the mid to late 2000s. Colorado had a good football program. The '90s, the early '90s, early to mid '90s, they were contending for national championships. They were in the New Year Six type bowls. They were on that level, but they haven't been that way. They haven't been on that level in a long time, and that's standing in a while. But I won't put it past Dion just to take the job, just to like show people that of what he's made of and the buzz and how you can recruit and all that. But if if I had to be a betting man, I think he would take that South Florida job. He stay there for a couple years, then go to a P5 school. That's what I think could happen. And at Cincinnati, he would do pretty good there as well. He would be in a P5 school. They're going to the Big 12 next year, and he could contend right away for national championships. um, each three of these jobs are interesting in my opinion. It would be interesting to see if Dion could replicate what he's doing at Jackson State in regards to turning around the program, have it compete for championships, bringing in 4 and 5 star recruits. Could he do that? Could he replicate that success at one of these schools? Um, each of them present unique challenges. South Florida, in my opinion, would be the easiest route to, I would say, turn around a program and have it contend for conference championships, playoff berths, and when it expands to 12 teams, and those things of that matter. But Colorado, Cincinnati, those programs, you're dealing with other type of coaches. You're dealing with good coaches in those programs. Not saying that you don't have that at the American Conference, but Colorado, you'll be the head coach. But you'll be dealing with going against guys like a Dan Lanning at Oregon, Kyle Whittingham at Utah. The new coach down at UW in Washington. Uh, Washington State has a pretty good coach. But to go on the bright side, you won't have to deal with well, you got to deal with USC for like another year, USC, UCLA for another year. But other than that, man, he should be straight. But Cincinnati, you go into a Big 12 conference, a conference that is known, is known for scoring a lot of points, putting up a lot of points on their opponents. They score a lot of points against each other. Defense is optional in that conference. It'll be interesting to see how he attacks that situation. Is his teams going to be, balanced? Or they're going to be a typical, Big 12 program where the defenses are like, bend but don't break, only get up the field on third down, make a few stops here and there, but everything is really about the offense, scoring touchdowns, scoring. It'll be interesting to see. But I think by the end of SWAC championship game, I think Deion Sanders will be the head coach at Jackson State. In my opinion, I think he's going to remain at Jackson State at the Tigers, and possibly next year when a bigger job opens up, he'll probably take it. He'll probably make that jump. But me personally, I think he should stay at Jackson State until he's ready to go. Continue to be part of that change, be part of the paradigm shift in regards to HBCU, football, athletics, and continue to do great things out there because the fans out there, people that attend that school, based on what I've seen, they really appreciate it. They really appreciate it and enjoying every minute of it. While he's the head coach, at Jackson State. But I think by the end of Saturday, that's by the end of that game, I think Prime will be to remain the head coach at Jackson State. So we'll see how everything plays out. I've been wrong. I wouldn't be surprised if he leaves, but I've been wrong in the past before. It is what it is. All right. Moving right along. Now we're gonna talk about Ryan Day, man. Ryan Day and the Ohio State Buckeyes. Now, Ohio State has lost for the second year in a row under the head coach of Ryan Day to the Michigan Wolverines. Jim Harbaugh's Michigan Wolverines 2 years in a row. They were beat pretty bad this past week against the Wolverines. 40 points. Michigan dropped 40 points on them. Once again, they did it last year in last year's historical meeting. And this year they do it again. So right now, Jim Harbaugh is on top of Ryan Day right now in regards to having a more dominant program out of the two rivals. And we see it, clearly see it. I was wrong about Michigan. I didn't think it could be the Ohio State, but they proved me wrong. But we're gonna bring this back to Ryan Day. So Ryan Day took over for Urban Meyer back in after the 2018 season. He took over. Pretty much that core was pretty much intact. Minus a few pieces going to the NFL. Um, 2019, you went 13-1, went to the CFP, no national championship. 2019. 2020, the COVID year. The season, was kind of cut short for the most part, but they still played out. They were to play 8 games, 7 games they played. You went 7-1, went to the CFP, went to the national championship game, no title. 2021, no CFP, no national championship, went to the Rose Bowl, won it, but you finished the year 11-2. You lost to Michigan. 2022, 11-1. No possible CFP if things, fall their way this Saturday. And you lost to Michigan, back-to-back losses. Your overall record, Ryan Day's overall record at Ohio State is 45-5. Now, to me, if that job has full requirements, in my opinion. As me looking from the outside, looking in, that job has full requirements: win the Big Ten, beat Michigan, get to the CFP, and win the national championship. You notice I didn't say Rose Bowl. The Rose Bowl is for programs like Iowa, Purdue, Wisconsin. That's their next championship. I'm talking about Ohio State. Their standards are a lot higher. So with that being said, I pose the question of, is the grace period over for Ryan Day at Ohio State right now? I would say, I mean, look, people looking at the resume, he's won 45 games since he's been there, lost only five. People will say, what's the issue? There is no issue, but you gotta beat Michigan, man. That's a big no-no right there. Losing to Michigan back to back and not being the CFP, not winning national championships. That's a big no-no right there. Big no-go right there for that fan base, the boosters out there in the Columbus. You know, thank you. Appreciate it. That's a big no-no right there for that team, for that program. The people that are fans of that program. I want to say, I'm not saying, I know he's not on the hot seat. I don't think they're going to fire him, but I know that he's going to be losing quite a few talent to the NFL next year, to the NFL after this season. And we just got to see, how they replenish that talent. I don't think, Marvin Harrison Jr. will be back. Quarterback will be unknown for right now. But if they stumble again, if it falls off the rails to where they're not even in the conversation for a national championship next year or even the playoff berth, and you lose to Michigan, I won't be surprised if they do make a move. I won't be surprised, but it has to get really bad. Now, when I say really bad, when I say that, I mean that it'll get bad to where they lose two games during the season. You lose two games during the season, and then you lose to Michigan, and you're not even in the you lose to Michigan once again, and you're not even in the conversation for a CFP. That's where they probably would make a move. I can see the AD and all that getting involved. But other than that, I think he's safe right now. But things can start to heat up next year. If it depends on the talent too. Depends on the talent, help, things like that. But I think he's good for right now. But that seat gonna get a little gonna start to warm up down the road. You know, 2 back to back losses to Michigan ain't good. I think Urban never lost to Michigan. Ryan Day did it. Ryan Day lost back to back games against Harbaugh, and right now it's Michigan's turn. They're back on top. It's been a long time since Michigan has been at this level. It's been a while, you know. But I think right now he's safe. But don't be surprised if that seat starts to heat up for Ryan Day and going into next year. All right, all right, moving right along. All right, on next, I want to talk about to close it out. I want to talk about this news that came out based on an article written by the Athletic NFL writer Jeff Howe, talking about potential QB moves during the offseason. And one particular move he was talking about was Tom Brady reuniting with Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots. So I'm going to go ahead and just read the excerpt, the part where he talks about Brady going back to the New England Patriots. So first, he mentions just to sum it up. He mentions teams like the Titans possibly being interested. Raiders as well because he's familiar with Josh McDaniels and his system, and the 49ers because he's from that area. He grew up in that area, and that was his team he rooted for when he was growing up. But then he gets down to the Patriots and start talking about why he may consider going back to them. So I'm just go ahead and read it real quick. And finally, maybe hold on to your phone with two hands for this one. Don't ever write off the Patriots. Brady and Bill Belichick still have an abundance of respect for one another. They've made points to say it publicly on multiple occasions since the QB departed for Tampa. They also spent 23 minutes together in the visiting locker room at Gillette Stadium following Brady's return in 2021, an appointment they set up prior to the game. The Patriots are slated to have more than $50 million in cap space in 2023, so they can again address their flaws. This time on the heels of a couple impressive draft classes. The issues, not the egos, not the pride. For Brady, he'd have to know the offense is in capable hands. There have been criticisms of Matt Patricia's first season as a play caller, plenty warranted, others exaggerated. And Brady benefited by an abundance of stability with the offensive coordinator in New England. He'd either he either need to be comfortable with Patricia or push for a reunion with someone like Bill O'Brien, currently the Alabama offensive coordinator, to ensure he's not wasting a season as a 46-year-old. Sure Brady will return. Sure Brady will return to run his offense, but he also can't coordinate it. For the Patriots, they should want clarity on Brady's future. Is he going year to year? Do they need to fully guarantee a second season? Something Belichick wouldn't do before Brady walked in 2020. Realistically, the Patriots wouldn't even need to trade Mac Jones, whose rookie contract runs through 2024, plus the fifth year option in 2025. While they certainly could, and as is the case with many starting quarterbacks, they started trade conversations with the hopes of recouping a first round pick. There'd be loads of value in Jones learning from Brady. I'm gonna just cut it off right there and pose the question of would this make sense for Brady to even do this? You left now. The reason you left New England was because you didn't have help. You didn't have help on offensive side of football. You felt like you couldn't, I would say, I guess you got tired of elevating C-level talent. You know, yeah, you did it. Hold on, you did it for so long in New England that you know people didn't really pay attention to it until you started to bring it up. Where it's at the time his wife, Giselle said, well, he's unappreciated in New England, things like that. Do you want to come back to that? You want to go back to working on the Belichick? You said it. They say you got 50 million in cap space, but will he use it on talent that's gonna make his life better as a quarterback out there? You know, I mean, compared right now, to me, that just better options than the New England Patriots. If Brady had to leave Tampa Bay, he is a free agent this offseason, and nobody really knows what's going to happen. He stated that he wants to play beyond this year, but we all know that could change. But to me, I don't think this makes sense, in my opinion, to go back to New England. And that's with the moves that they've made, even with the cap space and the brand of talent that they have in the draft right now. I wouldn't go there. I mean, if you want to move, I think San Francisco would be the spot. in my opinion. San Francisco is the team that you can come in right there, step right in, and compete for a championship. No questions asked. No answers, ifs or buts or doubts. They will be a Super Bowl contender from the day you walk in. Raiders, they have to rebuild the defense. You know, and despite you knowing, even though you know Josh McDaniels as your offensive coordinator for all those years, he's not the OC right now. He's not the OC of the team. He is the head coach, and so that's different levels of responsibility. New England. Why would I go to a team that has Matt Patricia as the offensive coordinator? You know, if I'm Brady, I will angle more for Bill O'Brien to come back. And also, will Belichick allow Brady to campaign for Bill O'Brien to come back to be the OC? Is he really relinquish that type of power to Brady? Because that was part of the reason why he left. You know, they just got tired of each other, in my opinion. So I don't think that will make the right move, make the most sense right there. I would, if I was him, excuse me, I would go to San Francisco and work with that team because that offense is tailor made for his style of QB. It's made for it. You have Christian McCaffrey. You would have Debo Samuel, um, Brandon Ayuk, Jawan Jennings, the tight end, George Kittle, Kyle Juszczyk. That great defense. Offensive line is really good. I'll go to 49ers. You know, I wouldn't going back to New England. This wouldn't work to me. But that's a decision that Brady will have to make. So I don't think that's the right move, man. And you know, this is how this stuff gets started, though, man. These stories sometimes they have some fire to it. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they just surprise. Sometimes people write them and they just get a life of their own, where narratives start to get pushed. Some come out of it, some don't. I just think right now, man, if I'm Brady, I will go to 40. If I'm going to continue playing, I'll go the best. I will go to the situation that's going to give me the best chance to get another championship, and that's the 49ers, in my opinion. So we'll see how everything plays out once the season is over. There's going to be a lot of, once again, there might be some more QB movement. Brady's free agent, so people are going to be lined up to sign him. So we'll see. All right, that's all I have for y'all for right now, man. Give me a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Let me know how you feel about the topics I talk about tonight. If you listen to this through Apple, Spotify, give us a 5-star rating, leave your review, leave your comments on anything that I talked about on this podcast. Also, check out strike7sports.com for latest content on the NFL, the NBA, and much more. Have a blessed night. Peace. I'm out.